Kings, queens, and in-betweens, welcome back to City
Nah.
Boys Extra Time. We got match day 7 coverage for you tonight with some wild results from around the league, including a thrashing in the 30-year anniversary match between San Jose and DC. Toronto managed to pull out a draw against Inter Miami, and the LA Galaxy, last year's champions, still have not quite gotten off the mark. My name is Ethan Thornton, and I am joined by two of my best friends, Jacob and Grayson. Grayson, how are you doing tonight, big man?
Wait, did you change my name to Really Bald Guy?
I don't know who did that.
I did shave today, so I am really bald. So it's pretty accurate, but
Looking spiffy.
yeah, I'm feeling good today. Ready to talk about the MLS and not talk about St. Louis City.
Well, Jacob, how are you doing?
You know, today's a big day for me. It's not the
Mm-hmm.
biggest of days, but it is a big day for me. About 26 years ago on this date, I was brought into this world at St. Mary's Hospital. So, quick little math there. 26-year-old. This is my 26th birthday today. And I couldn't be happier spending it by going live, talking about the MLS with you guys, and continuing to push the USA soccer agenda further.
It is truly an honor to be spending your birthday with you, Jacob. I'm glad that we managed to give each other a hug over the weekend and that we get to take in some St. Louis City this weekend coming up, man. I'm so excited. Happy birthday, brother. I'm glad to be here with you.
Thank you, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, dude, I'm very excited for the game. We're gonna go see St. Louis versus Columbus Crew. So, I mean, the Crew are flying right now. We'll get get more into that later, but it'll be a fun one, I'm sure. No doubt.
Brews are gonna have to be flowing for that match for sure.
No doubt. If we do a match day vlog, it could be the roughest one yet, but it'll be fun. It'll be a fun one.
No doubt, no doubt.
Well,
Well,
gentlemen, without further ado, should we break into the MLS match day 7? Like I said, we had some crazy results from around the weekend. Is anyone feeling particularly saucy? Want to get us started? I'm honestly willing to defer to the birthday boy.
It is my birthday. Shout out to Christine Knight. Thank you. I'm
oh,
gonna I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna go first.
Kick us off,
I've got a
brother.
pretty short one. We're gonna start with the inter-conference games this week. There were only three, but a couple of bangers in this one. If you guys didn't get to catch them, that's what we're here for. First, we had Atlanta versus Dallas. Miguel Almiron from the spot gets a goal in no doubt penalty call. I mean, he had the defender was all over his back, basically giving him a bear hug, pulls him down. Referee blows the whistle. He goes up and he argues the call as if he didn't do anything wrong, but it's clear as day a penalty in the box. Miguel Almiron steps up, goalkeeper guesses the right way, but can't get there in time, buries it bottom left corner. The game would be pretty closely contended throughout the rest of the match, right up until the 60th minute when Petar Musa, on his second effort, ends up bagging a goal to bring the final score 1-1. He had his first shot blocked by a fantastic sliding tackle, and then the ball just falls right back to his foot, and then he rifles it up off of the crossbar down into the back of the net. Pretty well taken goal for a $10 million man, if I do say so myself. Then we had New York City taking on Minnesota, and Minnesota are on fire and very hot. And no surprise here, Oluwaseyi starts the scoring, but the surprise to this goal is it took place literally on the 1 minute mark of this match. He scored within the first 59 and a half seconds of this game. Will Trapp, right before the half, would get on the score sheet as well. New York City was trying to make a comeback in this game. They had some really good moments in the match, but didn't end up finding the back of the net until the 89th minute to bring the goal deficit within one. But Minnesota were unable to bag another one, so Minnesota would take this one 2-1. Then my craziest game of the week, not just because it's in my conference to cover this weekend, but because the scoreline is absolutely insane. San Jose put an ass whooping onto DC United, 6-1. But Grayson, guess who scored for DC United?
Oh, I have no idea.
None other than Christian Benteke gets on the score sheet.
Listen,
Yet again.
yes. I have no doubt that he's gonna put up a lot of goals this season. I just don't think he's topping what he did last year.
No,
He
we
is
are
on pace to top what he
we
did
are.
last year.
I know.
Every week, Grayson. That
I'm
is
scared.
that is one of your coldest takes to date.
But the best performance from this game would come from Joseph Martinez. He earned himself player of the match day, bagging himself a hat trick as well as an assist. Chicho Arango, Christian Espinosa, and Pellegrino would each bag one to round out that absolute 6-1 throttling that San Jose put down on DC. Now, I have a question for the two of you. I want to start with Ethan. Actually, we can start with both you guys. I think you guys would make a great duo pairing of coaches. Your DC United's coaching staff after this match, what are you saying in the locker room after getting fed baby food in a 6-1 deficit?
Listen, I think I can speak for both of us. Coming from the schools that we did, the schools that we played for in high school, we're kind of used to being on the end of some crazy score lines.
Yeah.
I am not proud to admit that good old Luther North was not that great in league play and routinely lost 10-0 to many teams in the league. So, I've gotten a lot of talks post game, like a blowout. And really it's just like, you gotta just move past it. I mean, you gotta learn from the lessons, of course, but you can't just it's a easy hole to fall into. Like, this season could go very badly. If you let it get to your head, DC's just gotta bounce back because they are a good team. Just this was not their day at all. At all.
Yeah, to be fair to DC, they have put together some decent results on the year. I think that their good players are firing. Christian Benteke was able to score. I know that's kind of an ongoing joke at this point, but he is actually performing well. If I'm the coach in this situation, though, Jacob, I'm getting into the locker room, and it's going to be one of these, all right? That's the team talk. They're just getting a stern look for 90 seconds or so. There's no need to put you all through the stern look, but I mean, what can you say after getting thrashed 6-1 like that? You got to play for some pride at some point. To be fair, San Jose are the most roller coaster of a team right now in the MLS. They dropped 3 in a row and then score 6 goals. Okay. Okay. Also, Joseph Martinez finally overtaking Bradley Wright Phillips to be the 6th top scorer in the MLS?
Something like that.
A crazy record to maintain. I saw on the graphic that Bradley Wright Phillips played for the Columbus Crew.
Wild.
Frankly, I didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
I learned that from the graphic. I only associate him with the New York Red Bulls.
Same.
No, I distinctly remember getting a Bradley Wright Phillips FIFA card from him at the Crew, and it just not feeling right. It just didn't feel right.
That does feel just wrong. It truly does.
Well, that's all I've got for the interconference. It was just 3 matches. So who would like to kick off their conference next?
All right. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll get it out of the way.
Bird's got it. Big Ert.
We are going out to the west, just like me last week, except with no proposals this week, gentlemen. We're going to start off in Seattle and San Diego, where San Diego would get a very early goal. Luca De La Torre won a corner kick, goes quickly to Chucky, who takes it to the end line and would find Ter- Ter- Tverskov. Oh my goodness. Only 61 seconds into the game. San Diego would close it out 3-0. Chucky bagged himself 2 assists and a goal in his return to the starting 11. Pretty effective stuff from Chucky there. All right, gentlemen, let's rip the Band-Aid. Kansas City versus St. Louis. Kansas City pick up their first win on the season. The game was honestly pretty boring until the 71st minute when Joveljic would get his the first goal of the night, not his first of the season. He would end up making it a brace, and Kansas City, like I said, would get their first win of the season with a new coach. The new coach bump remains true in the MLS. The confetti cannons were ringing off in Kansas City. Frankly, a little embarrassing if you ask me. Quickly into Real Salt Lake versus the LA Galaxy. The U.S. men's national team's most tattooed player would bag a brace in style against last year's champions. Diego Luna put out a fantastic performance, and his stock would continue to rise. On to maybe the most boring game of the weekend. Portland versus Austin, 0-0 in Austin. Portland had the bulk of the chances in this match, and Austin looked like they could have stolen some points near the end with a couple of good chances, but the teams would share the points. Quickly into LAFC versus Houston. Jack McGlynn scores for Houston in a gritty victory over LAFC. Houston get their first win on the year. What a way to get your first win of the season. If Jack McGlynn can play like this, then Houston could be firing on all cylinders. Vancouver versus Colorado. Gentlemen, the Whitecaps remain on the top of the Western Mountains. Unbelievable stuff in Vancouver right now. 5 wins from 7 games. Brian White would find the back of the net once again to lift them to victory. They maintain a clean sheet over Colorado. A lot of results in the West this week. I want to quickly bring it back to LAFC versus Houston because there's a lot to take away from this game. All right. I know it's just a 1-0 victory, but Houston overtaking LAFC is a pretty surprising result for me. And I think most notable from this game is that Denny Bouanga, typically a 20-goal scorer on the year, has not found the back of the net yet this season. Gentlemen,
I didn't even realize.
The question I pose to you, is he still a Golden Boot contender? This is wild.
Yeah, dude, hearing that is crazy. Like, genuinely had no idea that he has not scored this season because he's still playing pretty well, like
I mean,
performing well.
he's in their highlights on a weekly basis. He's creating chances, no doubt. Just has not been able to find the back of the net this season.
Danny
Yeah.
Luongo on fraud watch? Question mark.
Ooh,
I don't think you can say that. I don't think you can say that.
Do we have LAFC in the schedule anytime soon? Because if so, definitely not for me.
7 games in and no goals is pretty bad. For if you want to be a Golden Boot winner, you know, so I'm gonna say yes, but he needs to score soon because Benteke is he's on the way, man. He's on the way.
I laugh, Grayson, because of the woes of the St. Louis City Strikers right now. For us to sit up here and kind of throw shade at Denny Bouanga feels a little two-faced, but yeah, no, I don't think we have anything to worry about with Denny Bouanga. He's gonna find one, and the next thing you know, he's gonna have a Joseph Martinez like performance where he bags 3, gets 2 assists, rides off into the sunset back to LA one day. I'm not too worried about Denny Bouanga's goal output right now.
I completely agree with that assessment, gentlemen. He is absolutely one of the most prolific wingers in the MLS. There's pretty much no doubt about that in anyone's minds.
I do want to say real quick that this game was really like all Houston. Like Houston really controlled most of this game. Like of course, LA is really good off the counter and did get a couple chances there, but Houston is a really good side. They just had like honestly a terrible, terrible start to the year, and I think they will get better. Uh, they've got a lot of great pieces in this team. Um, yeah,
I put in my notes, Grayson, that this is the kind of win that they can look back on later in the season for inspiration. Also, a notable aspect of this match was that Houston started their third string goalkeeper. Their first two string goalkeepers were both facing injuries. So for them to not just get a victory over LAFC with their backup to the backup goalkeeper to get a clean sheet, I think is honestly somewhat of a statement from Houston. Let's talk about the other team from LA and that game for just a little bit. I don't want to harp on LA too much, who still have not managed to find the back, or excuse me, not the back of the net. They haven't managed to find a win this season. Right now, they're really struggling. They have a goalkeeper problem. They don't really have a number one goalkeeper. But do you guys think Greg Vanney's in the hot seat? Because this is a tough situation. All right, he coaches you to a championship. Honestly, very similar to Peter Vermees, right? He goes winless 13 in a row, gets the sack. A little callback there. And Sporting Kansas City move on from a legend from the club off the back of a championship season. Do you guys think that Greg Vanney is in the hot seat right now after being winless in their first seven?
for
What's
me,
Go ahead.
no. For me, I don't think so. I know this is just a terrible, terrible moment for LA, and I think Greg Vanney, um, his pedigree as a coach is really hard to come by, and I think he's already proved himself as a winner to the LA Galaxy. So I think he's bought himself some time to ride out this bad spell. At least give him until all the injuries are back, and then if he's still misfiring with a good team, then he's gone. But for me, it's just really bad right now.
My question to your question is, what's a worse headline? MLS 2024 MLS Cup champion sacked after 7 games, or MLS Cup champion goes winless all season following winning the championship?
Yeah, that's yeah, a rotten egg or a rotten apple, brother. I don't know. It's
Goes
What do
winless
you do?
all season would be incredible. Like there's
I don't think that's going to happen for the Galaxy. Granted, they haven't sniffed a victory yet this season, so it's hard to give them props towards a victory right now. But no, Greg Vanney's not on the hot seat. At least let him go down with the ship that he built.
That's fair. That's fair. What's the opposite of the Invincibles? The Vulnerables, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the LA Galaxy right now. They are struggling. But speaking of teams that are honestly currently struggling and potentially have a manager in the hot seat, St. Louis City fall to their biggest rival in the barbecue in a match frankly that was hard to watch. They have now been shut out in three straight matches. I think that we have talked at length about this game, but the new question that I want to pose that I don't think we really have discussed, and that I think a lot of St. Louis City fans are talking about, is Olaf Melberg on the hot seat. I'll start off with this one because I think it's a pretty knee-jerk and irrational St. Louis fandom response to a situation like this. I don't think that Olaf Melberg is on the hot seat as of yet. We have put 2 wins out so far this season. Out of 7, it's not great. We're 11th in the table. I think, however, I said this on the podcast that it's on the players. I don't think our players are performing well enough at the moment. Once they see the ball hit the back of the net, they break that duck. I think we'll be in good shape.
Yeah, for me, it's not Olaf that's on the hot seat. Love him. Stood by him all last season. It's getting hard to stand by him right now. Zhao Klaus, right now for me, his seat's pretty freaking hot. There's a lot of hot coals underneath that seat, and he's got to get it going if he's gonna continue to stay a DP in this league.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, no lie. After seeing some of the performances around the league from players like Joseph Martinez, even Chicho Arango is finding the back of the net. Peter Musa is scoring now. Like it is getting time for Klaus.
It's painful because like the stuff we've seen him pull off for St. Louis City has been incredible. Like I always think back to, that crazy, insane goal he scored against Kansas City. I think it was the 4-2 game, but he like took a touch, it just bounced up, and then he volleys it to the top left corner. Like he's capable of some crazy shit, but it just doesn't come off like at all. It's a really bad spell. We've always said he's super streaky, but this streak is getting bad.
Almost a year. He hasn't scored in almost a year.
Yeah. And for a player of his caliber, it's just not good enough.
True.
So
It is not looking good for Xiao Klaus. He needs to get off the mark at some point this season. Granted, at least personally, I'm an optimist. I'll ride for him. I think that he is a good striker. I want him to score goals for St. Louis City, but I am getting impatient, and I think it's reasonable to be. The last recap that I would like to discuss from the West, gentlemen, is back into Vancouver versus Colorado. But I don't want to talk about the Whitecaps anymore. I think that they are getting plenty of attention at the top of the table as one of the best teams in the West. I do want to talk about Zach Steffen because despite the scoreline, he is having a good start to the season this year for the Colorado Rapids. I want to make sure and give my flowers because I know that I personally have said I believe that he is overrated and not quite U.S. men's national team quality. So I want to make sure and point it out that he is having a good season. I can have some somewhat cold takes. Just so that one's a lukewarm take, I think, because Matt Freese and Patrick Schulte are also performing pretty well right now in the MLS. So.
Matt Freese had himself a game even though they lost.
See, so there could be some potential. The U.S. men's national team goalkeeper position is, there's a podcast episode to be had about just that. But for me right now, I genuinely think that the 2026 World Cup starting goalkeeper is playing in the MLS at the moment.
Wow.
very interesting. Very interesting. I think another, topic, if we're talking about goalkeepers, is a possible destination for Matt Turner if he does end up leaving the Premier League to find some actual starting minutes. So you could be right. Like the starting goalkeeper could be in MLS. If it is Matt Turner,
Listen,
he might be coming back.
You
That's
know
a
who
move
has
that-
a goalkeeper problem right now and is a great place to live? LA Galaxy.
That would be actually a crazy signing.
Doesn't that make sense to both of you though? Jacob, what a call. I could 100% see Matt Turner signing for the LA Galaxy. I mean, he started his career in New England, so it's not exactly a rival in the MLS. Like he's not doing a former club dirty.
Right.
He's gonna be helping them get to their standard. Hey, I can see it, Jacob. I like that move.
Interesting shout.
Matt Turner, if you're listening, get in touch with the LA Galaxy.
We'll take the agent fee. Thank you.
Oh yeah, the agent fee times 3.
Another cool moment from the Colorado Rapids game, though, was the Bassett brothers actually subbed on and off for one another, which is really cool. I feel like that's somewhat of a rare thing.
I feel like that happens a lot in the MLS. Like,
But
the
yeah, it
MLS
is.
has so many brothers in the league. Like, it's kind of crazy. Like,
the Letjet brothers, the Roldan brothers.
there's a Leggett brother? I didn't know there was a second one.
Am I crazy? I think Sebastian Lechet has a brother in the MLS.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know.
I could be absolutely wrong, but I think
That
he does.
dude, that would blow my mind.
You guys keep talking. I'm gonna look it up.
It's crazy just that it's honestly, it's a cool moment. It's one of the least surprising things to happen in the MLS. It's just
Yeah.
one of those things that I have kind of come to expect from this pretty goofy league.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if someday we get an MLS team of a full family. Just the
Well,
dad's the coach. You got
like another
all
cool
the Sullivan brothers.
the Sullivan family MLS team.
Yeah, Sullivan FC.
Well, I know for a fact that John Harkes was the DC United captain in their inaugural season, and then his son Ian Harkes played for the San Jose Earthquakes last night. So that's a pretty cool and another family moment in the MLS. Of course, it's very famously known that Bruce Arena coached DC United in their first season, and then he just coached against them 30 seasons later with San Jose.
Yeah,
Unreal stuff there.
I mean Peter Vermees's run in as a coach and as a player for Kansas City is like unheard of. Like it's insane. It is so cool
Yeah.
now that we are in this generation of football where some of the biggest stars are becoming managers now, and some of them aren't very great. Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, maybe not the greatest, but they're
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
there. They're
let's not talk
learning. They're
about Wayne
learning.
Rooney as a manager. No,
He's
I
he's trying.
I'm trying to remember the name of the Colorado Rapids coach as well because I know that he found success as a player. Is it Chris Armas? Yeah, it is Chris Armas.
Yeah.
He was successful as a player and as a coach. Robin Fraser comes to mind, the coach for someone. Jacob, you look like you know something.
So I did a little digging into Sebastian Lechet and found out two pieces of information I did not want to know. One, he does not have a brother.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah, I thought so.
So I am just wrong on that one. Two, apparently he cheated on his fiance Becky G.
He cheated on
in
Becky G?
2022.
yeah, dude.
Damn it!
He's pretty famously known for fumbling that, which is
I had
crazy.
no idea.
Dang.
Uh,
I actually did
Yeah.
not know. I did not know. I'm sad, man. That hurts my feelings.
no
I think
longer
he
a
was at-
Sebastian Lechet stand for me.
Dude, when Dom Dwyer and Sidney LaRue broke up, bro, that was like football. That was the football relationship, bro.
a soccer tabloid right now.
Mauro Icardi and his wife. I don't know if you guys know that story, but that story is insane. I've
What
listened to
is
a whole
this?
podcast episode on that.
What is it with MLS stars not being able to stay faithful to their wives, bro?
Leaving them
It's-
back in Germany.
Ugh.
It's terrible.
Speaking of Emil Forsberg, Grayson, how about those results in the East this week?
What a
Yeah.
transition.
Nice. I will start off with that match day. Let's get into the Eastern Conference. We got the New York Red Bulls playing against Chicago Fire, and this was a good game and big signing for Chicago. Jonathan Bamba gets his first goal and slots it home to make it Chicago 1-0. But this second goal for me is super sick. I would nominate this for goal of the week because I actually love this goal. So Valencia sends in a perfect ball, and I actually didn't even write down the name of the guy who scored.
Uh,
God damn it. Okay.
So somebody
Serge
scored.
Serge Goma. Serge Goma. He's 19 years old. He's right winger, and Valencia played in a perfect ball, and it's just a bullet header that nutmegs Chris Brady, the Chicago Fire goalkeeper. It's such a nice team goal, It's super clean. 1-1, game on. But then MLS legend Kellen Acosta would almost rugby tackle his man to give them a penalty, and Eric Choupo-Moting would step up and cheeky Panenka penalty right down the middle. Keeper sent. That's 2-1 there. After that, Red Bull's defense and goalkeeper really saves this game day for them because it was a barrage of chances for Chicago to end this match. And I will note that Tim Parker looks pretty cool in the New York Red Bulls kit. It was kind of weird to see him on that team, but he really held it down that game. Um,
Fair play.
Then we've got Cincy versus New England. And this one ended 1-0, but it was a lot closer than I was expecting. Cincy was missing Evander this match. And so I felt like it really took them a while to grow into this match. Carlos Heel still at his best, creating chances at will. I think he had six chances in this match that he created. Ganago almost burying many of them, but it just did not come off. Late in the match, beautiful team goal for Cincy, breaks a deadlock, and Luca Orejano actually almost scored my goal of the week. Another almost goal. He actually he Rabonas and almost nutmegs the keeper. But the keeper gets a slight touch on it to keep it out. It was very close. But yeah, 1-0. And yeah, I think biggest note from that is New England actually played very, very well. Um, Moving in, we've got Columbus versus Montreal, and this was a fun one. Um, Match starts off with a quick and early goal for Columbus. Russell Rowe sends a looping ball over the top, and AZ Jackson would get on the end of it, chesting it down, taking his man on and slotting it off. It hits the post 1-0. Jacob's favorite player.
All-time favorite St. Louis City player.
All-time favorite player. And yeah, I know he's just super happy that he's just, he's probably just gonna
Delighted to see him succeeding. No
he's
doubt.
gonna get a Columbus Crew jersey with his name on it. Um, but my man of the match for this game would be Jason Russell Rowe. The man in form buries the second goal, but you've got to feel for Montreal in this matchup because they had three goals go to VAR during this match. So, first one, Caden Clark buries it, but he's slightly offsides, so it's called back. Prince Owosu actually had a fantastic game. He looked really, really good, and he buried a deflection off the post from a Caden Clark ripper. That was ruled offsides, and then it went to VAR, and it was overturned, so they would get that goal to make it 2-1. And then late in the match, I think it was in the 82nd minute, Victor Lattori looked to tie it, and that one was sent to VAR and overturned as well. So they ended up losing 2-1. Really unfortunate for Montreal. Another one of those teams just at the bottom of the league right now.
That would have been such a good victory for them as well.
It would. It really they need it.
Like over Columbus.
Yeah. So 2-1 is the final score there. We've got Philly versus Orlando. And this one, not much to speak on. It was a very one-sided matchup in terms of big chances, because it was chance after chance for Philly. Philly is back to their best after having a bunch of players missing in their past couple match days, but they've got everybody back and they're firing. But none of their chances were really clinical enough to beat Pedro Galese, their keeper, who really just went off. I think he only had 4 saves, but he got man of the match. It was kind of impressive. It was an interesting one. Last match day, you got something to say, Ethan?
No, I was just thinking that I was expecting that Orlando and Philly to be like a humdinger. I was expecting like a flurry of goals from both sides. That game had Marco Pasalic and Rebo in it. So I was just expecting there was a lot of skill on the attack. And so I think that both Orlando and Philly probably have the defenses to cut it out in this league and potentially contend for a top seed when push comes to shove.
Yeah, there is a lot of attacking talent on both of these teams that never found the back of the net. That speaks miles more to both teams' defenses.
Like Quinn Sullivan still hasn't found a goal this season yet. He has played unbelievable every game this like he is quietly putting together a young player of the season kind of year and still couldn't score. So I'm intimidated by Philadelphia and Orlando. I think that
Yeah.
those are two like kind of scary teams in the league right now, and I would not have expected that
Yeah.
going into match day one.
I mean, Orlando has two of the top scorers right now in Ojeda, and maybe Paslic. I can't remember who the other one is, but I know Ojeda is one of them. They're just going crazy, and yeah, like you guys said, like their defense is kind of underrated because they've been playing very well, but even in the games where they aren't, getting it going, they're still getting good results. Final match day here, and I swear to all the people that are hating on Inter Miami and Lionel Messi for just coming to this league, uh, every single game they play in is blockbuster football. Like, how can you come up against Toronto and make this game as exciting as it was? And this is a 1-1 draw. Like, these games are so fun.
I wish you were wrong, Grayson, because there is absolutely a level of truth to the Messi propaganda in the MLS. But dude, you are completely correct. Every single time I turn on Inter Miami, it is a fun game to watch.
It's just back and forth football. Like, both teams are defending in their 6 yard box, and that's about it. Like everybody is just getting chance after chance. And Toronto, they made Toronto look really good this game. Like Federico Bernardeschi had so many chances early on. They rocketed off the post, I think, 3 times in the first half an hour, or maybe just the first half, but it was insane. Um, yeah, Messi had another classic goal ruled off. So I did want to point out that that right there is, I think, the first sign of opposite Messi propaganda, Uh, because it was a very soft foul,
Yeah.
kind of like way before the goal even took place. I thought they called it off for a foul that he did right before he turned and like buried it, but I don't know. It was pretty soft, but yeah, just a little you know evidence against the Messi talk. But it would be Federico Bernardeschi who dances around in the box. Very strange goal, but he would sneak it past the goalkeeper and the defender here to make it 1-0. And it was crazy.
That was such a
And
Bernadeschi goal.
it
Bro,
was so sloppy and strange.
the twinkle toes on it though were A plus. He was showing Lionel Messi a couple of moves right
Dude,
there.
with his left foot, he taps it around one leg and finishes with the same foot. It was, yeah,
It's,
twinkle toe finish. Yeah.
that's ball work and cone work all coming in right then and there.
Okay.
So yeah, Toronto would get that goal and think that they're going up 1-0 into halftime. But it would be the GOAT, of course, gets the ball in the box, winds it up, and slots it home, bottom right corner. 1-1 in the 49th minute of the first half, extra time. So 1-1. Like this whole first half was just crazy, and it ended crazy. Um, and I
How about the passion from Leo Messi when he
Dude,
scored that goal? He
yeah.
had the one called back earlier, but I don't think I've seen Messi just fist bump and celebrate like that in probably a long time. Like usually after you score a goal, you're running off like in elation, but no, that there was like, oh, like yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like
That's
yeah,
just pure like I fucking want this. Like, come on.
yeah.
That's just pure reaction there. So I think that just shows like a lot of people do think, when these older players come here, they're just here to, get the paycheck. Some of the players aren't. Some players are here because they love the game and they want to keep playing. And I think I feel like the players on Inter Miami are doing it for the right reasons. So, you know, they're having fun.
That that squad is a good argument against the retirement league allegations.
I mean, that really is like that's the team that you play at Veta or you play in indoor. It's just old guys that just they still got it, man. Their knees hurt, but
A bunch of
they put
guys
you in a
that played at
blender.
SLU and IU and
They
all
take
over the
8
country.
Advil pills pregame just to make it through.
The biggest calves you've ever seen.
Yeah,
It's part of the game.
the
Just part of the
old
game.
old school sambas on their feet.
Dude,
Ballers
I bet
though.
Suarez would love to be
Ballers.
drinking a beer. Like he could just run over and grab a beer on her during the game. But I wanted to point out that there is a prime Barca play in this match. So if you are a footy lover and you want to see some class football, 52nd minute in this game, sorry, not Suarez, Sergio Busquets putting on a move in his prime. He had two midfielders on his back, and with one move, cuts him out, sends in a perfectly weighted ball into Fafa Picault, who sends in a perfect cross into Suarez, who misses. But it was almost like prime Barcelona play right there. It was just so clean. So
The Suarez miss is why it's not prime Barcelona.
Yeah,
yeah.
they are past prime Barca right now.
Yeah. 1-1, it sounds like a shitty scoreline, but this game was so fun. So, you know, go watch it if you have the chance. Like that, maybe it's not as fun as a 6-1 game, but this was for the football lovers out there, this is a great game to watch.
Little Inter Miami segue here. They also have the fucking discovery rights for Kevin De Bruyne.
Like
Yes.
what? How?
My guy, Kevin De Bruyne, could be playing in Miami come the summertime, which is kind of fire. And also, what?
I mean, yeah, he was originally linked with San Diego FC in the offseason.
Mhm.
So that was the big thing. And then, of course, he is a Manchester City player. So Manchester City Group owns NYCFC. So, that could be another option. And they are kind of in a weird place right now. They could use a player like him, but nah, Miami. Go play with Messi, my guy.
The MLS is just such a funny league because none of the discovery rights are public either. I think that's
Oh,
all just through like sporting directors talking in public spaces. Like that's the only reason that we know that we have the discovery rights to Josh Sargent. It just the whole discovery rights things are so weird anyways because who in the MLS does not know about Kevin De Bruyne and who would not want his signature? I think any team would vie for him. It's also so Grayson. I'm glad you reminded me that the City Group owns NYCFC. I completely forgot about that. And if I were in the NYCFC ownership, I would feel so disrespected.
yeah.
Like, yo, hello.
We
If you
have
want to
we have
come
a
to the
team there.
MLS, we have your accommodations. We got an airport. We got Etihad Airways
You're gonna
on
be
our
in New
sponsor. Like,
York
Yeah, their only
it,
issue is they don't have a stadium.
or
yeah.
a
They're
team.
building a
Another team is
stadium.
fine.
A stadium is on the way, but right now, as of we're recording, they
Yeah.
play in Yankee Stadium, which is definitely like that would turn me away if I were Kevin De Bruyne.
The thinnest field in the MLS. Watching a game when they play at home feels so odd.
It's like
It
you're
is.
watching a game at Wilmore Park.
But that's a deep, deep, deep cut there.
But am I wrong?
No, it is. It just feels like you could easily pump a throw in into the box. An Olympico goal is never off the table at Yankee Stadium. Long range efforts. Why not?
It's like goalie wars.
Kind of.
I don't know, man. Who do you guys think will get his signature? Surely he does not end up in the same midfield as Sergio Busquets and on the same team as Jordi Alba and Leo Messi, right? Like that's
Nah. I mean, I said this to you guys pre episode, but I actually think it will happen. I think he will go there. They do currently have three DPs, of course, in Leo Messi and Jordi Alba and Luis Suarez. So they don't have to move Sergio Busquets' contract around at all, but um, I do believe that it could be Luis Suarez that makes way um, for Kevin De Bruyne to get into that team. And I don't know if that'll be, them buying his contract down or him retiring because, as we've seen on social media and stuff, I think he's one of the ones that's, really feeling the most out of all these games he's played.
I totally agree, Grayson. Like before you even started talking, I was over here thinking like, yeah, Suarez is going to be the one to make room for him. I do see him going to Miami. I don't, off the top of my head, I don't know who like technically has the cap space / GAM to be able to afford a 33-year-old Kevin De Bruyne. But if any team is going to figure out a way to work around the laws in the MLS to afford players, it's going to be Inter Miami.
the team they created for David Beckham.
Yeah, the team that the reason all the games are on Apple TV for is because they got Messi.
Messi's got the Apple TV percentage package deal.
I wish we
Man's
could just
making a
throw
bang.
those around.
Yeah, let me I'll take 1%, guys. That's all I want.
Dude, I'll take a 0.5%. I'll take a sniff of those TV deal money, dude.
City
It is
Boys, you can now watch City Boys on Apple TV.
Fire.
That'd be crazy.
manifest. You're watching the City Boys on Apple TV. Well, let's go over. Should we go over the table? Because I don't know that we have, gentlemen. Let's talk about it. Because if I'm not mistaken, I believe there has been a little bit of movement.
In both tables. Which one do you want to start with?
Well, you know what? Let's go with the East. We just finished talking about them. All right. Columbus still undefeated, along with Inter Miami. Two teams in the league still undefeated.
Yeah, this Eastern Conference is a lot more competitive than last season.
No kidding.
Like the Crew, Miami, Philly, Charlotte. Orlando.
I mean, no, frankly,
these
their top.
teams are
Yeah, their
insane.
top six are competitive. I think that Orlando is better than Cincinnati and Charlotte, so I would put them in the top four of the East. But I mean, hell, we're seeing Nashville on the rise. They started off slow. We have to acknowledge that, but they are improving. Of course, the last year's Eastern Conference champions cannot be slept on. All right, the Red Bulls are having an okay start.
They're building momentum.
Atlanta United, of course, sitting right outside that top 9 position, but their main man is scoring on a weekly basis almost. So they look dangerous as well. I'm not ready to count them out.
It does get a little messy after 10th place, to be fair. The bottom parts of this table look look about right to me.
I think DC United is a bit better than, and I think Atlanta is also a bit better than where they're sitting right now. But
And I'll give you Atlanta. DC is currently underperforming, and they just got thumped. So that is going to listen. A 6-1
yeah.
smacking around like that is not going to improve your confidence. Okay, we'll put it like that. But I completely agree with you, Jacob. New England, Toronto, and Montreal are currently bottom. Right,
Ass.
to be fair to Toronto, before if we would have recorded this before their Inter Miami game, I think they would have had a lot less redeeming them. But you know, a draw against Inter Miami is a pretty good result.
Yeah. Let's look at the Western Conference. I think the bottom teams in the West are a bit better than the bottom teams in the East, in my opinion. And I think that's maybe not counting the LA Galaxy, but specifically Houston and Seattle and St. Louis. Maybe not St. Louis, but Houston and Seattle, I think are a bit better than Montreal and Toronto and the Revolution. I don't
Listen,
know.
St. Louis City will rip the band-aid below average. They're starting off weak. All right. That's
Rough.
it is what it is. Kansas City and LA, though, Grayson, I think are pretty much on par with Toronto and Montreal. I think that those are four pretty bad teams that at this moment in time do not have any hope of making the playoffs. There's enough time in the season for that to be the case, but because we saw Kansas City do it in 2023, I just don't foresee that for them this year.
It's honestly so crazy to see LAFC this far down in the table.
It is really surprising. It's also interesting that they're one of two teams in the West that have no draws on the season. They're only winning or losing games right now, which just feels funny for the MLS. Like, I don't know. So, yeah, I agree that they're underperforming right now. And I would say that once Denny Bawanga picks up the pace, that they will as well.
Yeah, I think Western Conference is a lot of middle of the pack teams. So I think, you could you could easily push up the table or go down the table with a couple anything that's not a draw. And you'll be going up or down.
There
It's
is
a
a lot
rocky
of
road.
movement in both tables after every single weekend. Like we last week, for example, in the Eastern Conference, we were singing the praises of the Chicago Fire because they were sitting in fourth place, and now you look at them, they've dropped 3 spots, I think, down into seventh place. And then this week, Portland is up, sitting fine in fifth place, and last week I think they were ninth, almost out
Yeah.
of the playoff contention. So yeah.
Hell, look at St. Louis City, man. Before Austin, I think we were in what third or fourth
Sixth.
in
Oh,
the
we were
in the
sixth.
West. Like we were pretty high up there, I think. And now we're sitting in 11th outside on the outside looking in at the very least. So
This league
it's
hurts.
it's still it's a good reminder though that it is pretty early on so far in the season.
Yeah.
Another big surprise for me in the West is got to be San Diego. For them to be the expansion side, they're through 7 games. Of course, they do have the blemish on their record. They were not a record-setting expansion team.
Ha ha ha.
But they do have 4 wins to their first 7 and have a +7 goal difference. They look good on the attack, and if Chucky Lozano is going to keep playing like he did last or on Saturday, then they could be a lock for the playoffs.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they're gonna keep going. Of course, like we mentioned before, how deep is their depth? I think the end of the season is gonna be a big question for San Diego, but they are flying right now, so we give them their props.
Yeah, we haven't reached the dog days of the MLS yet, where it really makes or breaks whether you built a good roster or not.
I mean, frankly, this test for them in April is going to be really good. I think every team in the league has around 5 games, if not more, in this coming month. So if they can have a good April, get into the summer on a strong note, then we shall see for San Diego, but it is looking positive. Also, there's Grayson, I think you mentioned that the middle of the table in the West just looks extremely competitive, and I think you're completely right. San Jose, of course, all the up and downs, but probably flying with confidence after a win like that. LAFC, we just talked about. Dallas performing decently well, I would say. Lucci Acosta is finding his footing there. I think that Portland is kind of an outlier here. I don't really think they belong in the top half of the table. I don't think they'll remain that way. No disrespect. I just think that Salt Lake, St. Louis, and Seattle will make their way up there themselves.
I think Portland had a good last 3 games. Like, I think they strung together some good performances. Granted, they did draw this week with Austin, Texas, but if I remember correctly, they played Austin, Texas like really early on in the season. So this is the second time in a short stint that these two have seen each other. So there's a lot of tape.
Excellent memory, Jacob.
There's a lot of tape
Yeah,
to go
this is
off of in order to game plan for a team that hasn't changed a whole lot since the last time you saw them.
And Austin is a good side. We've just learned that the hard way. So I think that Portland is kind of a sleeper. I think they were down and out last season. They had a lot of issues. They got rid of one of their best players, uh, and then they signed David DaCosta, pretty young, but he's really finding his form now. Last weekend, Anthony went off, so I think they have good pieces, but they've just been kind of quiet so far. But I think they're in a good spot right now.
Not to just totally shit on your take or
Ain't
anything,
that about?
Ethan.
Yeah, no, I'm just tripping, I guess, about Portland.
Yeah, how dare you?
I don't know anything about
How dare
Portland
you have an opinion?
FC. Yeah, discourse about it. Well, for me, I definitely am done talking about the table after that. Um,
I'm so sorry.
no, I'm kidding.
No, you know who's having a great
Crazy
season?
week in the MLS.
The LA Galaxy. Well, we don't have really any goal of the week contenders. For those of you that don't know, I kind of make those posts every week, and I didn't see any that really, lit a fire underneath me enough to repost them. I did go all the way through the MLS's Instagram page, scouring them. There were a couple of nice goals that took place, but none that were really like, holy cow, which is that's the benchmark. If it can make me feel like holy cow, then it gets put up there. So I'll leave it up to the viewers to tell us who they thought deserved goal of the week. And after we get enough submissions, I'll shout that goal out on our Instagram page. So comment down below, DM us on Instagram, send me the clip, whatever you got to do. I'll see it. I'll post it. We'll get it settled that way.
I like it, sir. I like it.
Cool. Well, we're coming right up on an hour, folks.
It's about
Do
that
we
time.
want to talk about next week at all, or are we ready to blow the final whistle, gentlemen?
Next week, what specifically?
Well, I do think that the St. Louis City Columbus game is going to be real good. I got my eyes on LAFC and San Jose because that's like kind of a California Classico, but listen, the West looks real good. Colorado, San Diego, Vancouver, and Austin. That's another top of the table matchup. The East is looking okay with DC United and Cincy. I think Philly is gonna smash NYCFC, and Orlando and the New York Red Bulls. That'll be a game to watch. I'm saying it right now.
Who does Minnesota play next week?
Toronto.
Let's see.
Do they play Toronto? Give me Minnesota by 10.
Yeah.
That boy, Oluwaseyi, baller. Baller.
Yeah, he's really good.
I love to catch a Minnesota game. They are a lot of fun to watch.
In good form, too. No losses in their last 5.
Yeah, Minnesota's a good team. Robin Lod.
Yeah.
Hassani Dotson. Oh, that goal. He probably scored the goal of the season, if you ask me. That side volley.
Also, arguably the best RBF coupled with the best goalkeeping hair in the game and Dane St. Clair between the sticks.
He's a pretty class goalkeeper.
I love that you called out his RBF.
Dude looks pissed off all the time.
Even after he makes a save, because you know how goalkeepers are so animated, but him.
Yeah, nah.
It looks like there's only one interconference game next week. Nashville and Salt Lake. Am I seeing this right?
Dang. It's gonna be a
Maybe
nice,
St. Louis and
easy
Columbus.
wrap up.
It's gonna be
St.
a
Louis
lot
and
of
Columbus
movement.
as well, but
A lot of
yeah,
movement in the tables then.
it should be a good week for the MLS next week. I'm excited too. I guess are we going live Monday night next week?
Yeah, I mean we'll be at the game Sunday.
Right.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to figure out how to record this weekend because we'll be at a game on Sunday.
You can just do it on Monday. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's for us to worry about, not you guys.
We'll figure it out off camera.
All right, well I'm gonna rip an outro. If you folks got anything else to say, cool. Well, happy birthday to me. Thank you guys for stopping by. You have been watching this on YouTube, so if you are not currently subscribed, go subscribe, unsubscribe, subscribe again, unsubscribe, and then subscribe again.
Don't forget.
Unlike. Comment a couple of times. Everything helps the algorithm. You will be hearing this on Spotify the following day. So on Spotify, make sure you are following us and you rate us 5 stars. Both also affect the algorithm massively. So go do that. And then most importantly, the most important algorithm you can affect is your mother's when you tell her that you love her. So go do that. I love you, Mom. I love you, Miss Knight. Thanks for hanging out. I love you, Erica, even though I don't know if you're in the chat right now. Appreciate you guys.
Love you, Moms.
Much love, much love.
MLS.
MLS.